Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I would appreciate it majorly. So I just wanted to do a second video about the missing person in Colorado. Suzanne Morphew, who went missing on Mother's Day, didn't return from a bike ride, and a neighbor called police around 5:46 p.m. Sunday evening. That's her on the left with her husband. That's probably a dated photo. Not that. It's from 2018. And her husband was actually out of town at the time, according to family. He was in Denver. Where they now live is in Maysville, Colorado, which is, I saw a report that it's 150 miles southwest of Denver. It's a very small town. I think it has a population of like 135, so it's tiny. On her profile, I think it says she's from Salida, Colorado, which is a little bit east of Maysville. Salida might be a little bit larger town. Anyways, so there's not a lot of new information. I mean, she's been missing since Sunday evening, so we're now at Friday. Not quite at a full week yet, but it's definitely, that's a lot of time to be missing. They did recover her bike, and I think a lot of people knew that. I did know it in the first video that I did yesterday, and they found the bike the same day she went missing. Where they found the bike and in what condition is not known. I think the authorities, there's a lot that they're not revealing to the public at this point. This is where she was riding bikes in between or around U.S. Highway 50, which is right here, and County Line Road 225, which is here. And they live very close to that. I've seen several reports of the police blocking off or cordoning off an intersection. I think they were doing that here, not up here, but I'm not absolutely certain because they live in a house, pretty nice house in this area where the houses are very far apart from each other. I think the house that they recently bought in 2018 is like 1.5 million on 7 acres. Nice. But I think, I think they legitimately have the financial resources, to buy a house like that. I think they still haven't even sold. From one report I saw, haven't sold the home that they were selling in Indiana, where they're from. That's that's definitely, there's a number of different things that kind of jump out at me. One of them is the move, but it's impossible to know with any. This is all just speculation. But the fact, most of their family is in Indiana, and they had a very established life there. I think he had multiple successful businesses, landscaping business as well. I think the majority of the money they made was wholesaling landscaping. I think they were growing plants. I think that's on a lot of land as well as landscaping as well. Probably a large. Almost like commercial style landscaper. But, he went to Purdue. He's actually almost exactly the same age as myself. He went in 90 to 94. That's the same as me. Purdue's a very good school. Very excellent institution. It's normally very competitive in engineering, but I think he went there for landscape architecture. Anyways, basically, I think they have legitimate wealth that they've just made over their lifetime. But their life was in Indiana, and it seems like they, left all that behind when they moved to Colorado. They have some kind of connection to Colorado, whether they've been vacationing there for years. I was trying to figure out if the wife, Suzanne, the woman who's missing, was originally from Colorado, and maybe that was the connection. But I don't think it is. I think her family. I don't know if her maiden name is Knoll, because I know the nephew who's spoken to reporters, who set up the GoFundMe page, and talked about the family reward and stuff. And I'll play a little bit of that if I can. His last name is Knoll, but even that family seems to be from Indiana too. So they just had a lot of roots in Indiana, but moved to Colorado. And again, I just couldn't totally make the connection. Other than maybe, I think it's Colorado. A lot of people vacation in Colorado, go skiing. And I think this is even near a ski resort where they live, but I don't know that for sure. I'm fairly certain of that. And she had. Well, no. Well, there's some kind of nonprofit organization, charitable organization that's in her name, the Suzanne Hope organization or something like that. I think she's a cancer survivor. Her husband talked about it in one of his posts on his Instagram account of beating it twice, and just obviously praising his wife as the best woman ever and so forth. That's from like a year ago that he posted that on his Instagram account, which is actually right here. It's in this post there. So, and that's her Instagram account, which is marked to private. It's not totally unusual. As well as her Facebook account, her friends are marked private. Same thing, not terribly unusual at all. Even though his aren't. So again, she went missing on Sunday evening. A neighbor called the police around 5:46 p.m. He's out of town. Somebody was mentioning in one of the forums I was looking at that how did the neighbor even know that she was missing? Why were they sort of keeping tabs on her? These homes are super far apart where they're located. The neighbors are half a mile away. So how were they even aware that she didn't return and so forth? Somebody else had suggested that the husband probably called a neighbor and said, can you go check on Suzanne? The husband's name is Barry, who hasn't spoken to the media yet. And from what I understand, I saw a report that said he just isn't ready yet. So one of the person was suggesting he probably called the neighbor, said, can you go check on Suzanne? And she wasn't there, didn't show up, and therefore the neighbor called the police. And I tend to agree with that assessment. Initially, my first video, I thought it was an accident. It just seemed, but I take that back. I don't think this is an accident. And they've searched it extensively with dogs, tracking dogs, drones, and I don't think that's the case. And I also don't, it would almost have to be impossible. I don't see how they could have not located her by now, if that was the case. And I also don't think this is a random stranger who did not just randomly chose her from out of nowhere. Everything's possible, but my guess is it's somebody that's known to them. It definitely feels like that. And, everyone always looks at the people closest. They always look at the spouse first. They always, and I think the sheriff, I think his name is Sprees, I can't remember, wouldn't comment on whether or not, the husband is cooperating, and I think he's just not telling the public the reporters anything other than the bare essentials, geography, times, and that's it. Spees is his name, and that's the Chaffee County sheriff. My guess is the husband is cooperating. He put up a reward as of the night before last of $100,000. Another family friend matched that with another $100,000. So there's a $200,000 reward for information, leading to her, I guess, safe return. I don't know the exact circumstances and details that are attached to that reward. Actually, the nephew speaks to it, and he says no questions asked. Basically, with some of the language, and I just feel like they know, this is somebody that's known to them, and the authorities aren't telling us, for good reason, all the information that they know. This is the sheriff saying, I can't say whether the circumstances of her disappearance are suspicious, and I can't share what we've found, said Sheriff John Spees. I can tell you that in addition to the search, we have an ongoing investigation. And the tip line is 719, for anybody who might know anything, 719-312-7530. You know. So, you know, I definitely have some kind of working theory, very loose though, and I'm reluctant to necessarily put it out there. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think the move to Colorado, you know, might have something to do with it, and I also think that the husband not being there on Mother's Day is. So let me I get cut off, but let me play for you some of the nephew speaking to reporters, whose name is Travis Knoll, I believe. That's who set up the Trevor Knoll set up the GoFundMe page, which is now up to $25,000. But there's a $200,000 reward, and the GoFundMe's, you know, to help financially in the search. But let me just play him so you can hear directly from him, you know, how he says it, just announcing the reward, saying if anybody knows anything, and so forth, and then just continue on to and sort of wrap this up soon. Unfortunately, it's kind of busted up. It's broken up in different parts.
By a family friend. Now, the focus of this search has been the area where she went for a bike ride near home, but the worry is now that she's nowhere near she was last known to be. The word abduction is a hard one to mention, but it remains on the list of potentials, with her disappearance still a mystery.
It's the hardest thing. She's a beloved member of our family and the sweetest person that you've ever met.
The nephew of 49-year-old Suzanne Morphew talking about what it's like to go through the difficulty of a search that started after she went missing during a Sunday bike ride. Family has said her husband Barry was out of town in Denver. A friend called authorities when Morphew didn't return.
The bike was found on Sunday, the day that she went missing.
The sheriff has not yet shared information on the bike, but has told CBS4 the reason for her disappearance is probably not animals. Extensive searching in Chaffee County, about 20 miles west of Salida, has not brought an answer on what happened to Morphew. On CBS4 this morning, Knoll told us the reward is now twice as large.
So now we're offering $200,000 for Suzanne's safe return. No questions asked, just bring her back to us.
They want an answer, and know each minute is more worrisome.
We just want to leave all the options open and know that everyone out here is doing everything they possibly can to find her. And if there's any chance that she could hear this, maybe, I want her to know that the family wants her back and we love her and we're out there working for her.
Just really a much-loved mom and wife. There is more searching going.
So, let me plug this back in. You know, let me just sort of wrap this up. There's not a whole lot more to add. Like I said, I'm reluctant to necessarily put out any kind of theory because it's just totally speculation on my part. But I do think it's if somebody did abduct her, it's somebody known to her. I had this idea that it's a woman that abducted her. And, you know, it was just somebody that they were, I don't know, when they moved to Colorado, they were leaving something behind and starting over. I mean, they're at an age where they could be just, you know, the kids are getting old enough, I think, to be going to college and stuff. They could they didn't have any ties to their parents and family. They did. I don't know. I mean, it's not unthinkable that they would want to change and stuff like that. But I got this feeling they were leaving something behind that, you know, and that was the reason for the move to Colorado, and maybe that person followed them to there. And I even thought maybe the guy was was asked to meet that person in Denver, you know, innocently, wanting to start fresh and move on from whatever was in the past, and when maybe the person did. I mean, the fact that he was out of town on Mother's Day, and I don't think he has anything to do with her her abduction or anything like that. I think, but I just, those sort of mechanics would make sense of the person doesn't show up who he's supposed to be meeting, and then he calls, her, and she doesn't answer, and then he becomes worried and calls the neighbor, It's that's a lot of guesswork on my part, but I don't know. I definitely feel like it's somebody that they know, but I could be wrong. And that's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please, hopefully she's going to be okay. Hopefully she's still okay and she's going to be and come home safely, Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.